Hi there, Ron here of Variable Play, and welcome to another Open Game Night.
Yeah,
Hello.
open game night. Get to the
Welcome
chopper.
back, Kyo!
Get to the chopper.
Get to the chopper. Hey,
Get
folks.
to
Hi,
the
it's Kim
chopper.
here. Glad to be
Hi,
back.
I'm Denmark. Hello, everybody. Thank you for joining. Get to the chopper.
To
Get
the
down.
chopper. Get away from the door. There's a bomb.
Oh my god. They'll probably be surprised. What the hell
Hi.
are these guys doing now?
What I remember is his the kidney Fluffy. Like, hi, hello, how are you?
How
He's
are you?
taking the.
How are you?
How are you? Do you work out?
Right?
See
What's wrong?
you see my biceps?
No, no, I haven't. No, don't tap him. Don't tap him. Fluffy. Hey, what's up, guys? How are you
Do
guys?
it. Do it now.
How are
I'm
you?
I'm doing very well actually.
Nice,
Very well.
Keo. Nice. Great news
Good.
for Keo.
Good.
Cool.
Uh,
Cool.
I have been. I got to play a game over at the Monday meetup.
Mm.
Really?
So that's yeah. Um, so the recent one, well, I got to bring out um, imminent domain microprocessor.
Yeah, I think I played that before. Can't remember. But
So
those are the
so
weird
it's a
art planets, right?
yeah, well, so that's the imminent domain deck building game. I done
Hi,
it.
Danielin.
This one is sort of like a two-player drafting. Um, kind
You
of
can do
set
this.
collection action building,
Do it. Do it
but
now.
so what's really interesting is
Lord
about
Dan.
that game is when you are taking, but you have on your turn you have to draft a card. You must draft a card. Then you get to choose whether you're gonna play or bring back the cards you played back to your hand. And then suddenly everything that you're doing now is more powerful because your hand will contribute icons and other things um, to help the
Is it
actions that you're playing.
is it this battle cruisers?
It does sound like that.
It sounds like
Different.
battle cruisers. Because you play and then you take it back. I mean, just like a few cards go back to your hand
No, this
and
one
it rotates.
you choose to leave some and then take everything back.
Oh, okay. All right.
So
Okay.
it has this
Oh,
sort of
so
curve
cool.
where you're just drafting, picking sort of your scoring conditions, um, targeting which hopefully you have an idea of if you're going to colonize planets or raise them to the ground or space. That's your
Raise them to the space. Salt the space.
yeah, because if you can't raise them to the ground because their planet is yeah.
How long did you
And then
guys
the other
play
one,
last Monday? That imminent domain.
that
About
one's
an
super
hour.
Yeah.
fast. No. It's done in like 15 minutes. It's a very fast.
Oh,
15
cool.
minutes.
It's
Wow.
That was
one-on-one.
quick.
You met the
And
So we
and
played a few
and
games
the
with it.
other one was
Marvel Dice Throne.
oh yeah, your new game.
Oh,
Dice Chapter.
yeah.
Marvel.
Dice Throne, but Narvel. Yeah.
Yeah. So it is quite good. It is definitely a step up from King of Tokyo.
Okay.
Okay.
You still have the Yahtzee roll your dice,
Mechanic,
but it has
right?
this magic feel. You have upkeep, main phase, roll for attack, and then another main phase. I'm like, what? Next thing, end of turn. So
Untap everything.
untap draw.
Magic the
You
Yahtzee,
know,
yeah?
yeah.
Magic the
So,
Yahtzee.
but the idea is, you're the heroes in the original Dice Throne heroes. Uh, it's your typical fantasy monk, uh, warlock, whatever. But
Yeah.
co-
Monk,
With
warlock,
Marvel, of course, you
sorcerer.
get to have the superheroes from the MCU, and so I got to try Spider-Man, Mike Morales, Spider-Man,
Boo.
and Loki. Uh, so Spider-Man was pretty fun because he was he had like when you're defending, he's still attacking, so you can
Uh
sort
huh.
of choose. And he's constantly he's not dealing super big damage, but he's like constantly damaging the opponent. I was fighting with Wanda. Wanda had really big turns, but I'm just constantly sort
Pinging
of
her.
being able to put in,
Ping.
yeah,
Ping.
exactly. The twit, because that's a spelling THWIP.
Twip, right? The twip
Twit,
thingy.
yeah.
Yeah.
What'd you
So
call me?
that's
Hi,
You
Vin Kai. Hello. Thank you
tweet.
for hearting us.
uh,
Hello.
um, and then the Clint played Thor. So first was Wanda, then Thor against Loki. Loki was fun because he didn't really want to win. He just wanted to mess with the game. His whole objective is like, ooh,
Hey,
uh,
Ace.
you
Hello.
can't see me. Uh, Whenever you make an attack, are you attacking an illusion? So you have these three cards, and you can sort of do a, you know. So here's the success, and then you can sort of shuffle and where's the card? And
Hmm.
my problem is that Clint always figures out where it is, so he always gets a hit. But Thor was crazy. Literally, Thor had a hammer that he will throw to you, deal one damage, and then
Thor,
Like
man. I mean, what do you
uh
expect?
physically,
yeah,
like physically, they have a hammer
it's a
in
token,
the
but
game.
it's a
It's a
hammer token.
token.
Yes. So
I
so
like
one
that.
of his actions is really to throw. Then he'll be able to play spells or moves or activate some of his powers that would give him sort of actions to bring back the the hammer when it springs back. Like lightning comes out and sort of energizes him, allows him to throw it back again. So, so it was
It's a
Loki looked like
mechanical
what
boomerang.
yeah it
What will
it
imagine me
really
with
looked like
Loki?
how yeah it looked like how it was in the movie. Like literally the hammer's like just
Hey, Levy.
Hey,
r-
What's
Levy.
up?
Hello.
flying back and forth. And I mean, uh, but what is pretty interesting is you can upgrade your sort of Yahtzee moves. So you can have a small straight, which is like four that is going
Right.
up,
I remember
four
this.
dice that are
Right.
going up.
Right.
But you have maybe a level two of that
This is
move that
the
gives you
bonanza
another
part.
option. Yeah.
Hmm.
So that one's pretty cool. Although of course it's dice. You could have upgraded something that never showed up. But at least,
Never
men
showed
it
up.
psychologically
Right.
you're thinking, oh,
It
I'm
might come
coming
out.
in with yes, yeah. So Loki was not lucky. So he lost terribly.
Cool.
But
Hey,
Spider-Man, yeah, pretty fun.
hey,
Cool,
Those
everyone.
nice.
those are the games
For
that I
those
got to try.
for those watching, may we ask that you share or invite people so that more people can join our conversation
Yeah.
tonight. But that is good. And I just don't like Miles Morales. He's not my
Really?
Spider-Man. Yeah, Jake was
Why?
telling me.
Because he's
Jake
got
was telling
magic.
me. No, it's Jake was
Does he
telling
have
me
magic?
one
Does he
time
have
that
magic?
uh this is the Spider-Man for the new generation. And I'm like, no, I still want my Peter Parker. So
Oh well,
anyway,
I
sure, why not?
Speaking of
I like it
Spider-Man,
especially because of the theme song and
Oh,
because of how
right.
well the movie was made. Um, the so they engineered a specific rendering engine just so that the movie feels
Will
like
have
you're
that
watching a
feels
comic. Yeah.
right, right.
So that was pretty interesting. Like it wasn't like 3D, Pixar smooth. It had
Or
like really fast movement.
shading, right? It's not like
Yeah.
that.
So
Cool.
I
Cool.
think what
Very
what the
nice.
thing was doing was it was practically um, taking so it would render everything, and then every frame, the previous frame, it would copy to the next one. So you're looking at things sort of a little bit longer, but it's moving faster because you're jumping frames. You're skipping a
Wow.
frame, but you're not really skipping. So that was the
Wow.
idea of the engine that they built, and
Wow.
it now gave this really comic book feel. So it is my favorite Spider-Man movie. I'm
Yeah.
not that particular of what their powers are. I'm still with the
And
old
part two
Spider-Man.
is coming out very very
Right.
soon.
See,
Yeah,
yeah, I
I,
think it's coming out this year, right?
I still remember the old
And
Spider-Man that uses those white rope that you use in school, and he
That's
threw
not
it
my
white
on a
rope.
generation.
tree.
Why would I use a white rope in school? Who am I tying up?
No, in Boy Scout you always have these
Oh
ropes,
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Okay,
right?
okay.
That nylon
Right,
cotton one. Yeah.
and
How to
then
tie
Sure.
yeah,
knots.
and then
What's Boy
Pew,
Scout
pew,
po?
pew, 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 pew.
yeah, and then you see this. He'll spring load it. He'll spring load it, and then
And then throw a tampon at
physically
you. Parang like that, diba?
he's swinging from a bamboo branch, which doesn't make sense. I didn't understand why he was
Hello.
singing, but yes, that was
Hello
my
everybody
Spider-Man.
watching us. Hello. Hey,
Speaking of Spider-Man, yeah, yeah.
yeah, go on,
Go ahead,
Kyo.
Denmark.
No, 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 I
Because
was gonna say, what
oh,
have you been playing to follow up on Ron? So
okay, yeah.
take this segment away then.
All right. Speaking of Spider-Man, I've been limited to my board game experience for the past
Yeah.
weeks actually. So but good news is that I've been playing the Spider-Man remastered for PC.
Ooh,
Is this the one with the white spider on his shirt?
Yeah, the one
PS4
with
spider,
the one
right?
with the rubber shoes on. Yeah, yeah. It's out for PC already, and it's glorious on
for
PC.
for lack of a better term, it's
Yeah,
glorious.
it's glorious. I'm a Spider-Man fan. I've always been.
Hey,
Not
hey,
really
here,
obvious.
here.
Diba?
I knew him
Spider-Man.
back when he was poor.
Diba? It, when
no,
Green Goblin still had clothes and not armor. And
when
the
his
thing about
job
this
was to take
Spider-Man
picture
remastered,
to take the real selfies,
oh yeah,
Right.
the
he had
old G
films.
selfie.
He had Kodak films. There was no
I knew him
iTunes
as Tiger.
then. Go Tiger.
so,
Yun, yeah.
so what have you been
And then
playing,
yun, yeah.
you, with your
Yun nga,
limited
Spider-Man
time?
Remastered. What do you call this? It's a very good updated version, especially
Mm-hmm.
that they added two new costumes from the No Way Home movie.
Mm-hmm.
And that's pretty recent, diba? So that's like, oh,
Right.
not bad. And then going on to the board game for digital for me, I've been playing more of Jackbox style games, but not Jackbox. Okay,
Hi, Sim. Thank
these
you
are the
for
games that I
watching.
wanted you guys to try before. One of them is the called the big screen games. They actually have one game there that's exactly like Telestrations. Only this time
Uh-huh.
everyone uses their cell phones. It's hilarious. Unlike
What Jackbox is it
Telestrations,
now? Is it 9 or 8?
no, no, no.
It's not. No, it's not
Nine's
talking about
coming
that.
soon, but this
So
is
it's
not
8. Still
that
8.
box.
Oh,
No, no,
okay.
no. It's called Big Potato Presents Big Screen Games, and it's got three
All
games.
right.
One of them is like Telestrations with a twist. It's more like you don't get points by guessing it correctly. You get points by whoever makes the funniest guess, either word
Oh,
or
so people
drawing.
vote.
Yeah, people vote. Yeah, and I also been playing another one called a social deduction one with a twist. Imagine the quest, but pirates, and
Okay.
your position on the boat. May you be captain all the way down to
Oh, okay. Like
the first
Tortuga.
mate or down to the no. Uh, has meaning, has a
Mm-hmm.
weight on your votes, and you have to. Your main mission is to get to the island with all of your treasure intact. Or if you're a ghost, which spy or traitor, you have to make sure you either throw all the treasure out before you end the game, or you're a captain but you're a ghost.
Uh,
So
all
so
right.
which
All
means
right, David
only the
Jones.
cap. Yeah.
All right, Leandro Barbosa.
Yeah. How does this? He's Spanish, right?
Right.
I will get you,
Eh,
Jack Sparrow. Jack Sparrow. Hey, Jack Sparrow. Yeah.
cool.
So yeah, I've been
I
playing those
hope they
games
bring him
with
back.
office mates and also a lot of people, and they like it. It's enjoyable. It's as fun as Jackbox. And again, Jackbox 9 coming out this fall, very
Cool.
soon.
Cool, 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 cool.
Nice.
All right. I had a chance to game last Saturday at Abby's event, and that was a nice place. That was a very
Hey,
posh,
shout out to Abby.
uh,
Thank you for organizing that.
yeah, place.
Good
And,
job,
and we
Abby.
were all saying
Nice,
like, "Hey,
really
it
nice.
is a very nice place." I didn't get to play long games, so we actually hit the quick games. We played Songbirds. We played Cartographers, but the highlight for me was I get to play Cascadia again. And
Nice.
that game, every time you play that game, you understand why it won. Yeah,
Hmm.
speak off, and there she appears. Abby.
A wild
Hello,
Abby
Abby.
appears.
Abby.
so
Thank you,
so
Abby.
you wonder why it won it won a lot of awards, and Cascadia was really good. It was really it's a simple game. Your action is just pick a pair, either pick a pair of terrain and a animal. That's it. If you wanna mix and match, just spend one of those evergreen tokens. But get the tile, place it in your other tiles. Try to make largest biome while trying to place all the animals that you took, because Cascadia will score depend the score depends on what the animal scoring condition is. It might be like an elk who's grouped together, someone that's in a straight line. So it's a simple concept, but every time you play it, it gets to a point where you really have to stop and think of what do I get now. When you reach mid game, then it starts to be like, I can't just draft whatever looks nice. It has to make sense now. And that was the highlight of my game. While I was there, people were playing TI4.
Oh,
People were
Wow.
playing new games. People
yeah,
played
four. Oh my
Tapestry. The Expanse by Ron was also there. That's the one that I when I got there, that was what they were playing. And I also saw Brick and Mortar by Kai. So there were a lot of games. We thought that they were for beginners, but actually gamers arrived. So it was a game day
Yes.
for everybody.
Yeah.
So well,
The first thing
Arc
that
Nova was
they
not
set
was
up was
there.
Arc Nova. Like,
Yeah, that's what they set up.
you guys wanna before you play Arc Nova, you guys wanna play Expanse.
Right.
Although I'm
And
not entirely sure if they enjoyed it because the group was they prefer Euro games and not confrontational games.
mm-hmm,
Expanse
mm-hmm. Oh,
Yarrow
is
games. Huh?
is
Flow
a
of
little bit
History. We also played Flow of
oh,
History.
nice.
Another one of those games that whenever you play, it's like it's a simple mechanic, but it's really good. So so
It's an impressive system.
right. So that's what we've been playing, and while we were doing that, I noticed that some games that we have will be played long, some will be played short in a short time, right? So how do that's what we're gonna be talking about, because it's weird. I don't know about you guys, but now that I got older, I tend to stay away from games that will reach 2 hours or more, except if I really like that game, or except if we really planned on playing that game. We're gonna play this game. and everybody agrees, fine. But if like during in game nights, when I see a heavy game that is being brought out, it's like, that's a heavy game, and then they invite me. I can't. I cannot play. It's not
Can you
that
join us?
I it's not that I cannot grasp the game. It's just that it's too long. So, and that's what I'm gonna ask you guys. No, we're gonna be talking about, and of course, everybody who's watching, we want you in on this one too. And our title is "Where Did the Time Go?" Where did the time go? Because when you're playing a game, might it be a short game or a long game, you'll never notice you've been playing for a long time, right? And
Well, the game is good.
Yes.
the game is good, and
Yeah.
you all are having fun. Again, it's who you play with, right? Who are you gaming with? But let me ask you guys, if I'm gonna ask you before we start officially, what
Mhm.
is the right amount of game time for you guys? Like your sweet spot. Or okay, fine, not sweet spot. But okay, fine, sweet spot. What's your sweet spot? It's like I'll play that. If that game is within this span, I'm good. I'm playing that.
Hmm.
On average, uh, new games that are not necessarily my cup of tea,
Okay.
one
Okay.
hour, 1 hour tops.
All right.
So, but if
That's
it's
not
if
including teach, right? That's not including teach.
yeah, sure.
Okay.
But if it's
But if it's your within your
if it's
wheelhouse,
yeah, then I'm willing to take on 2 to 3 hours.
2 to 3 hours. All right. Kyo?
Uh. Okay. Let's say I'm not in my house. I am not. I'm outside. I'm in a game day. All right.
Right.
In game days, it's not called a specific add the name of board game here day, diba?
Right.
Unless everyone agrees. So, your goal for a game day is to play as much as you can. So
Mm-hmm.
I guess my sweet spot would be around 45 minutes.
Uh-huh.
Okay, 45 minutes. So I'll have enough time to go to the next game and not worry that I'm staying too long in the game night because again,
Mm-hmm.
I'm not as young as everyone else here. So,
Right.
so
Right. You're not
yes,
as young as everyone else.
yeah, I don't know.
Right. Sure.
Heck
Hey,
no. No, I'm not young. But if I'm the one who organized this and I particularly say, okay, we're gonna play this game today, then I guess around 2 to 3 hours is my sweet spot, and after that, it's eating all the way. 2 to 3 hours, people are tired already, but and then the rest of the night is eating, but talking about what happened a while ago. That's what caters
All
to
right.
the other rest of the
Sure.
2 hours. So 5 hours in a game day, 3 hours of the game, 2 hours of the eating, all about the fun
Sure.
experience we ever had.
2 to 3 hours. So those are the same, right? So same was saying 30 minutes to an hour. Desky is saying an hour and a half to 4 hours, and that I bet that's a Lacerda game or something else. And that
This
will
is actually
be
pretty good.
Play.
We can actually, yeah.
when we were there and I was teaching in Spanish, and I think Destian also started teaching escape plan, or already, yeah, started teaching escape plan. And I remember overhearing, this is one of the simplest Vita Lacerda systems. Oh, okay.
Oh yeah, I saw that one too.
Yeah.
Escape
And
plan.
it was interesting because it's still a long teach, or at least they had to go through quite a bit the rules still.
Mhm.
So sometimes, yeah, even the teach is. I hear people nowadays also ask, how long does it take for you to
To
teach this?
teach. Right. Right. See, it's usually a Lacerda game, and yes, that's escape plan.
Yeah,
For me, I guess
specific.
if it's not in my wheelhouse, an hour, and I'll be generous with an hour and a half if it somehow
If it
piques my
surprises you.
interest. But my first long game was actually by Desky, and it was Civilizations, the old
Mm.
Civilizations one. with
right?
the
Oh, that's nice.
wisdom expansion with Japan and the others. And it took us a minimum
To
of
move
3
your
hours,
caravan,
right? One days at a time. But I
Gandhi
didn't
and the
put a
mind.
nukes.
flag.
I didn't mind because that was a really good game. So yes,
It is a
yeah,
good game.
an hour if I'm not familiar with it and it's not within my interest, 2 hours to
That's pretty
three.
quick.
Same. Yeah, so let's get to the matter. Lacerda Teach is 60 to 90 minutes. I don't know you played Civ. This doesn't remember anymore. I was Japan. I almost won. I was within one level of the tech tree, and then Russia attacked my base. And I had no defense. And that's how they
And
won.
who was Russia?
And and Russia
Jesse, was that
had
you?
that sort of land bridge, right? So you can't enter their kingdom because he had two water tiles or
Right.
sectors in front of him, so you can't. So
It's been a
the
long
Russia
time.
player can turtle first, improve all technologies, and then go out.
All right. So let's start. So I have two questions. First is
Mm-hmm.
when you look at the box, a board game box, and then you look at the time, there's a symbol there. It's either an hourglass or a watch with a number.
Clock.
What would make you say that, yep, that's a long game? And what would make you say, ooh, short game? What number is a long game for you? And what number is a short game for you? Let's just start with the easy ones.
Okay.
Sure.
Could I could I inject
Go
something
ahead.
here? For
Sure.
me, for me, the value of how good the components are should
Ooh, I
equal
didn't,
that
I
to the
didn't
length.
factor this in.
Yeah.
Example.
Example. Let's say what are those big heavy games now?
Gloomhaven.
No. What we call those
I'm
games?
so dead. Gloomhaven. That's like
Gloom,
that's like so
Gloomhaven,
3 years ago.
but it's still relevant. Tapestry or
Tapestry, sure.
those other heavy games like what do you call this? The one that what do you call this? The Vikings blood
Raiders, Blood
blood rage
Rage.
blood rage. Imagine more the production value of that, and then it's game length. Doon pa lang sa box cover alone, you can tell. Okay, I if once you flip the box, it's like ooh minis. Ooh, nice big map. And
Oh,
then,
it's gonna be
oh,
worth it.
it says 90 minutes. No, this is not going to be 90 minutes. People will be like, oh, look at my army, huh? No. So yeah, it all depends on the production value. So, but to answer your question, I do not believe the time
What?
spent in the front.
Philosophical.
Why is that? Because that is like the time that if everybody already knows the game for about a year worth. If I play this game already for a year,
Right,
by the time
right,
they're
but
like, yeah, that's correct. That's correct. I know
yeah,
everything.
but let's say you walk into in a shop, in a board game shop,
Mm-mm.
and you see
Yeah.
boxes, and then you just like pick up one and you see it. What's like, ooh, that's long.
If I see minis behind it,
It will never be long.
it'll never be long. It'll never be long. As long as
All
the
right,
minis.
sure.
Yeah.
What's your shortest
Ano,
game for you then?
shortest game would be
Time wise.
on the box.
Yeah, it's
If,
just it says there on the
if the
box.
box says 10 minutes, that's a lie. That's a lie.
Five
I I
minutes.
have
Marvel.
I would like to contest. I have a game that is physically
Oh yeah,
5 minutes.
the watch list, that one. Yeah, there's
That
a
one.
timer.
Yes.
You're saying
It is
less than an
really
hour
fun.
is too short, more than 180 minutes is too long.
If I'm supposed to get a short game, I want something worth. It says there 30 minutes. That for me is a short game because
Okay,
that gives me an idea that okay, setup is fast, and they're focusing more on the game itself rather than setup. Because again, remember we have to consider the setup time too as well for this kind of games. So
Right.
that's computed also with how people perceive length in games, the setup.
So 120 minutes showing on the box is long. All boxes are lies. This is
All
practically
boxes are
saying all boxes
lies.
are lying by half.
Only one game that I have is not live. The rest, yeah.
Sim is saying 15 to 30 is short. 13 minutes. How about you? Oh, I can go first, Ron, if you want.
Yeah, I can go.
Okay. Okay.
So my short game is, yeah, definitely below 30 minutes. That's like impressively short if it's real. Um,
It is real.
no, no, because it, as a designer, you look at sort of the number of actions you can take in a game, the number of rounds, and then the number of players. You can already have a physical average of how long the game takes.
Uh-huh.
And sometimes when you look at the turn structure and then the number of rounds, you're going like, you can't fit that in 30 minutes. I mean, there's no
Okay.
physical way to do it because mentally you have to take an action and think about it. So 30 seconds to a minute to make that action. If you're only considering a small amount of information, sometimes the game is big and there's a lot of things to consider, and then now your 1 minute becomes 2 minutes or 3 minutes. Then now it becomes a long game. The long game for
Mhm.
me, my threshold, I cap out at around 3 hours. Games
Then
are
you
going
zone
like,
out. Then it's
uh,
gone. Or then you wish that
yeah,
it's over right now.
yeah. So like I love Civ, like the one you just mentioned, but wow, does that game take
It
long
takes a
if
long
the
time.
players
It's
are,
an investment.
yeah. But it's such an impressive tech tree and system.
Right.
So you
And even
do
the way
get
you
that
fight,
payout.
right? A square card that you flip
Yep,
with
flip.
whatever value is assigned. That
Yep.
was also good. So, uh, for me, short game will be somewhere around 30 or less, right? Draftosaurus is exactly 15 minutes or less if you're gonna play it. But long for me will be around 2 hours. But you know what scares me the most? What scares me the most when I pick up a box and then I look at the time and it says X amount per player, then it's really scary
That
for
that
me. I'm like,
oh,
okay,
I have learned that the
that's
hard
gonna be
way.
long. If a
I learned
box
it the
is
hard
telling
way. Oh my
you,
gosh.
if a box is telling you
It's it's
it's
it's
per
already,
player,
yeah, it's already but
Be
honestly,
warned.
that is how you're supposed to really do the game length computation. Because like what I said, the amount of
Ideally, yeah.
actions that you need to take per turn times the number of rounds times the number of players. It's really that simple. Times 1 minute each, and that's it. So
Right.
yeah, if you're gonna take 40 actions in a game, that's 40 minutes just for you.
right? And the game would say, uh, 30 minutes, 45 minutes per player, and then they're gonna lie and you count maximum number of players six. It's
Oh
like
gosh,
six
no.
hours, Marcus.
Yeah, yeah,
No,
yeah.
no, no,
You're almost at
no.
6 hours, not counting anything else that would happen in between, right? So it's like, ugh, man, whenever a box says per, I have to put it down. I have to,
I have
or
one like
or
that.
or if you
I have
see
a couple of games like that.
180, or the timer starts with 2 and then two other numbers follow it, yeah, you have to put it down. That's too long.
Like, okay. I
No,
learned
I
it the hard
can't.
way because my favorite game Talisman is like that. And I learned it the hard way. We're like, oh, let's all play. All cards out, all players, full players. And I'm like,
When
3 hours.
does this end?
4
Three
hours
hours
later. 4 hours later. And then I'm like, when will this end?
Let it end. Let it
Kill me
end.
now.
All right, let's
Game
read
is
the
like
comments.
Monopoly.
See,
Oh
too
man,
long
six
for me is
hours.
probably 6 hours, and the shortest is
Yeah,
30. That's like
Abby
an
is,
extreme.
because
Six
she
hours?
really
She
likes
loves. You,
Vita
these are the
Lacerda
people
style
who
games.
love heavy
So
games, right?
yeah,
So I love games that take an hour to four. A game is too long if I don't like it. Yes, somehow time slows down for some weird reason.
That's not a
Theory of
game. That's
relativity.
a 12-unit college single day, half day, class. That's
And
not.
this one actually makes sense, right? We're not even counting the AP time.
Action point,
So
yeah.
when you look at the box, I think when you look at the box, and correct me if I'm wrong, and it says X amount of minutes, that means you actually taking your turn. It doesn't
So
factor in you
on
thinking
average,
about it.
yeah, on average, that's why to take an action, it's simply look at the card, play it. That's less than 3 seconds, right?
Yeah.
But thinking that's why we say it's a minute for the decision because it took you a minute to figure out on average what you're gonna do next. But there are times where the decision is too complex that you really feel players are just gonna ask, can you give me a few more minutes? I have to think about it because I'm computing, I'm adding up all of
Power grid.
my
You do
yeah.
power grid. That would work too.
So that's why the average estimate sort of is around a minute if it's the game is sort of straightforward. But if it would really require some heavy thinking, then you might have to go a minute 30 to 2 minutes per action
My
on
gosh.
average.
Then it compounds,
Yes.
right? So this is what I was talking about. First time I saw Lewis and Clark, I thought it was be 30 minutes, but it says only per player. And if you're four players, that's a quick 2 hour game,
Yeah.
right?
Quick 2-hour game.
I
I
mean,
like that irony right there.
I
um,
sorry, yeah, quick 2 hour game, right? Cool. That's
Tenet, for example, is always pretty much a 2 hour game. Compare that to Expanse, where it is maybe an hour, 20 minutes.
Kemet becomes
To
long because nobody memorized all of those tiles.
oh,
That's why it takes too long.
even if they have memorized it and they're playing as fast as they can, because of sort of the amount of actions that you have to take to go through the whole game, because each player has five per round. Then you have sort of these general accounting steps. So,
Upkeep.
yep.
Okay. So I think we can branch out to more topics or more points when I ask you guys this question. Does
This question number two?
yeah, I think so.
Yeah. Number
Whatever
two.
question
Okay.
we are in.
Okay.
Does it really matter to you with you saying that time? I mean, does the time really matter? Is it a factor in you experiencing fun? Uh, like Abby was saying, I was bored out of my wit, but I have to finish the game so the person won't be invited. I mean, when you see 2 hours in a game box, does it matter that you will play it or not play it? As also to like 15 minutes. Okay, what are the pros and cons, if you want it that way, of a long and short game?
Oh, okay. That's easier.
That would work.
That's
That would
that's
work,
Yeah,
right?
easier.
yeah.
Okay.
Pros and cons.
Let's
Okay, let's
let's
start
start
with
Uh,
with short
pros
game.
of
Pros.
short games. Fine.
Okay.
Pros of short games.
sure. I can start. So
Sure.
the big a big plus, of course, if it's a short game, and is that you get to play a lot of them, a lot of variety. So in one game night, you could have played 10 short games of different things, of different games. Of course, we'll go to the con later for the counterpart of that. But that's my one advantage for me. Um, the cool thing also with short games is that because it's a short game, by design, it is also more gateway friendly because you need to have less rules. If you have too many rules, if your teach is longer than your actual gameplay, maybe there's a problem with your
Hmm.
game design. How did that make sense? How did you incorporate all of those rules with less time? Um, and I think the advantage of short games is that If it's bad, it ends early.
Here,
You like this
here,
game?
I think Desky got what I was asking earlier. It says time matters because he has a finite amount of available time for game. That was
Agree.
where I was going with that. Thank you, Desky. Save me. Thank you for
which is
saving me.
which is one of my pros of short games. Um, Players are less likely to get disturbed by life,
Okay.
Oh,
Okay.
right?
Pause life.
I have a meeting at 10 a.m. What time is it? 8 o'clock. Okay, short game. Let's go. No
Mhm.
worries. Or
or the
I'm waiting for
you
my
know you
wife.
reach a certain time. Uy, nagre-ring na. Ay, guys.
I have to go.
Oh, I am guilty of
Yeah.
that.
Hey,
Early
same,
morning
same.
again. Oh, I
Same,
gotta go.
same.
I thought the game. I bought the game. Oops, sorry, I gotta go. And they're like, "What's up, man? I was enjoying it." And I'm like, I'm sorry. I'll see you next week."
Yes.
You can take a picture and then kung paano ko magligpit, gano'n na lang eh, no? Tapos naglagpo na lang sa box lahat. Does it
Saan,
matter?
saan,
Sort it
saan
out
ka na?
later.
On my way. He's like, "What's up,
Sort it out later. Yeah, I guess pros too will be yeah, many games, right? And you won't be bothered. I like
yeah.
what Ron said that if it sucks, then it ends early. No
I have one
pain.
more pro. It gives the feeling of for players that they have learned or played something so much and they have absorbed so many things in just a few minutes. That feeling that players get for short games, and then that's what brings back more players. The feeling that, oh, I get it, I know how to play this, especially for new players too as well. So that's why I like short games. It gives that certain particular feeling that you've accomplished something, that you
Right.
understood the game, and then I want
Right.
to play again, and it gives me a chance for redemption.
Get back at you.
You won. I'll see you next time. I'll see you again, or let's play
Uh-huh.
again. Ganun. What's the point of short games, diba? So
For,
yeah,
for me,
those are
as a enthusiast, as a board game advocate, enthusiast, it helps with the teach. Short game, less voice, few instructions, right?
amen.
Like, okay, I have 5 love letters, 5 tables. All right, sure. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Give me 5 minutes. I'll finish. I'll be there. God, that would be quick. Hey, sometimes we underestimate the teach, right? But it really gets tiring at some point. And even if you're just teaching a short game and people are like talking or like texting or doing this, even if it's a short game, it's really difficult to teach those types of those games. And having a short game makes it somehow a little bit faster, a little bit easier, less conflict. Because, okay, taught it, bala na kayo dyan. Nakinig kayo, di bala sa buhay mo.
Did you understand everything I said? Can you read?
This is another con, right?
Yeah. So
A
when
short
we,
game won't give you a satisfying experience. Go on, Ron.
yeah, I think we can take on the
Cons.
cons of
Yeah.
short games, and that's my big problem with short games. It's really not as satisfying. I mean, you're impressed, like, oh, cool, that's a cool idea, but it's also uh, it won't be as memorable as an experience. It's
Uh-huh.
not unless it's really good, where it made them play it again. Then now you can compound these short games into, well, yeah, it's love letter, but when it first came out, we played hours of it because we kept on playing throughout the night.
Right.
So you would still
Fantasy realms
remember
too. Sure.
exactly, right? Fantasy
Song
realms.
it.
It's like
Uh,
Inuman Nights, Fantasy Realms. Start
I can
playing.
actually I can actually inject a story while playing in this game. Like,
Right.
hey, I did what I did last week.
I
Me, one of my major cons with short games is I've been reading an article too, and I totally agree with this one. Maybe even more so if for Ron, dahil he's a designer. Strategic restrictiveness.
So,
Okay, that's work related. I
Very
don't know that. Explain to someone like me.
okay. Strategies.
I
Gamers
know,
like
I get
us
that part,
who've
but
been
when you
yeah, okay.
combine them,
A. Stay with me. And anyways, so again, strategic restrictiveness. So you're restricting the strategy. So that means there is very
uh-huh,
minimal strategy involved, at least if it's that's the notion of a short game. Therefore, if there is short and immediate strategies, people will tend to memorize it easier, faster, and then
right,
eventually get bored with it.
uh-huh, right,
And going to that, it becomes repetitive.
right,
yeah.
right.
Yes. So imagine
That
mo
was
if you only have a certain number of strategies to use from the game, and then someone figures out, oh, I can do this, and then they'll keep on using it over and over again, and then okay, there you go.
mhm.
It just
Yeah.
Yeah,
tears
I,
Yeah.
out the heart of the
I
game after a while.
I
Yeah.
guess my
Yeah. Yeah.
my my entry for con will be somewhere related to that. Mine is burnout. You easily get tired and bored with that game. It's like, oh, okay, played 5 games, no more, know it, seen it, everything else. Yeah, yeah, I'm not gonna play. Maybe on occasion, but let's play another one. And somehow it just gets stuck on your shelf, right? It gets and waiting for new
Yeah.
victims.
Avalon.
I
Avalon. Avalon.
Yeah. Exactly. I remember um, when Azul first came out, and my family we played every weekend. And then one day, my brother just said, "I think I've played enough Azul."
Right. See,
I'm like,
that's what we're
and
saying.
he's not even a core gamer. So there is such a thing, especially if the game is quite fast. You might sort of see all of the strategies that are involved. Maybe there's a little bit variance here and there, but I think the thing about board games, a big part of it is the discovery as well. Discovering how the game works, how what are the little nuance, what are the hidden tricks that you can try out in the game. As long as the game is giving you that, then sure you'd come back. But if it's very quick abstract, there's not much there
Can
because
I add something else for the short con? And you were saying something with new add-ons, new mechanics. Don't you guys hate that? Uh,
What?
recently, the new here's what I'm gonna say. Recently, we went to Conquest. We taught Love Letter, right? Then we taught Love Letter the crap out of Conquest. But I was telling them, uh, when we were playing it as gamers, when we were playing it with the advocates, we were playing. I was like, I don't like this version of Love Letter. Why? Because they added 2 new cards. And to me, if it's a short game, it's easier for designers, for publishers to add something into it, and somehow it loses the original appeal because now you're trying. I don't know. Maybe it's because they're just trying to add something on the new version, on the revised
well,
version, that it
you have
somehow.
you
Twist.
have
Yeah.
to add
It's a new
something.
twist.
I
Other
know.
Otherwise, there would be no excuse. Like, what did you do? You just really reprinted it with a new graphic, with a new
Yeah, and
fresh
sometimes
coat of paint.
I think it's just me, but to me, that version of Love Letter, the new one with the spy and the other princess. I forgot what the other one was. The higher ranking number. It's like, yeah, that's not how it's supposed to be played. And they I think they just added it so that there'll be variety, but I don't think it's good for the game. It's not Love Letter anymore to me. That I
Okay.
think most short games have that tendency to get that reprint add on, and somehow it's not the same game anymore. I think it's just me. I don't know. What do you guys think about that one?
Well,
Do I make sense,
the
or I'm
thing
just
with
weird that way?
I
Hmm.
think the thing with short games is it's normally as a designer, it's normally revolving around a unique concept. And so that unique concept brings about a certain feeling of play. A love letter has that princess. No, okay, princess. No, okay, right. That's the most fun part of love letter. Um, and if suddenly, oh, which princess? Then it's a little bit weird, right? It doesn't have the same sort of nostalgia as how you originally
Right.
played.
Right.
So the problem with sort of these unique mechanics or unique ideas that when they permutate and sort of expand on themselves, they lose somewhat of the original feel. And it's just a natural thing. The good thing is that you can just remove them, put it back to the normal love letter setting, which would be fine. So you don't
Mhm.
have to play with all of the cards.
Mhm.
But yeah, going back, the big con about short games is that you should be careful of overplaying them because yeah, it's fast and you would also be so yeah, really fast.
Right.
I
Yeah,
don't know
no,
the
All right.
English.
umay, yeah, umay.
Oh
Oh
my,
my.
Ako naman specifically for Love Letter, I understand the original gameplay was always good to play over and over again. I mean, again, that's why we got tired of it in the first place. Um, but personally, I think the Lost Legacy version of Love Letter was quite a good add-on. It made
The
me
Lost in Space version.
Lost Legacy. There were three
yeah,
decks, or three or four
yeah.
decks.
Yeah.
It started with two, then
Yeah,
then they added another 10.
and you can combine all of them to have a
Yeah,
big, huge deck. And I'm like, whoa,
but there's
this is a
only
whole
one
new
Lost Legacy you have
game.
to choose.
Yeah,
So
you
you have
choose only
only
one, and then all the cards you're like, oh, and then do you have the Lost Legacy? I don't know, maybe, but it's got so many other. Again, each deck has their own flavor, and it's still essentially love letter. But I like the fact you can combine, so you can at
Uh huh.
least mix and match and understand that okay, this is
but
actually
you'd notice that
this is love letter.
it didn't have the same staying power as compared to the love letters.
That's true.
Because the
That's true.
letter
So
switches places, and you have to guess where it is.
The Lost
I'm right,
Legacy.
right? The Lost
you
Legacy is
lost
that
the
game,
letter.
right? Where
Yeah,
it
yeah, yeah.
switches places, right? And then you're
Yeah,
trying to
you
find where
get
it
to
is.
choose. There's still a chance for someone else to like, no, I lost after the last turn, diba? So, ganun.
See,
Yes.
it's not the same. So, hey, I'm not weird, but it just doesn't happen in short games, even in longer games like Agricola, GWT, The Village. They have to change
Absolutely.
something, and it's not the same. I was
Kemet
thinking of a
for me.
yeah, Kemet. I'm like,
I am not.
yeah.
I looked at the newest. I'm like, okay, I'm okay with the 1.5. The rules that you've optimized for 1.5, I'm good. But I'm happy with even the original or a little bit of 1.5. That's fine with me. But I don't need sort of the things that they've changed with their latest 2.0 version.
All right. Okay. So much. I think we got a lot from the cons and pros of the
Short
short game. Let's
story.
now
Yeah.
bash and promote and uphold
Long
the the
game.
long games. All right, pros and cons
Yeah,
of long games. All right.
Pros.
yeah.
Desky
Go
said,
ahead.
I go by the principle, sunog utak. Right.
Why
Pros,
would you burn your game, man?
brain burner.
Yes, yes.
No.
What I really
RFN,
like
RFN.
about long games is uh, even in Euro games or very strategic games, the design has always been an art. It's not going to be the same note or the same cadence for 3 hours. Otherwise, the game wouldn't work. People would be like, "Are we really just doing this for the next 2 3 hours?" And then
Uh-huh.
you're just it doesn't. Even if I mean, think of Power Grid. And I know Denmark hasn't played Power Grid.
But I
Um,
have a vague idea how it plays.
yes, you are simply um, auctioning power plants, buying resources, powering up. stations, get money, and rinse and repeat. However, Freedom and Freeze bake in the progression of the technologies, the power plants get better over time, the distribution of resources change depending on which phase you are in the game. So even if you're structurally the same, as the game progresses from step one, step two, step three, it actually gives you a different feel, story, and so you sort of feel the progress. And so 3 hours don't feel 3 hours because you felt that you guys are now really big corporations. So the small ones
Yeah.
are raking in a lot of the early resources, but the big ones have already created enough wealth that they, oh, that's fine. Coal is expensive now. I'm gonna buy new technology. I'm gonna leave you guys with old tech. So I think that's the big advantage of long games. The designers are able to tell a bigger story. They're able
Okay.
to showcase an experience and flesh it out
Mm-hmm.
so that players who do play it really have that fulfilled experience.
Yes.
That
Yes.
I got to play. It's not that you're the princess. That's it. Okay, we can move on to the next game. Like turn one, princess. Yes. Okay. Done. We can move on.
That's
But if
exactly, yes.
it's a longer game, so I recently got Empire Imperium Legends, and my I really like the idea civilization, civ building, deck building, but it really deterred me when I saw the game time. It's 40 minutes per player.
We're not playing this. I recon.
Oh, okay. So let's have an
I
an
recon.
Imperium anon day.
40 minutes
That's
per
the only
player.
we'll
And
be
I'm just like,
playing.
why are you 40 minutes per player? You're just a deck building game. How can you end up in that game length?
Yep. But I heard
And
great things about this game. So
yeah,
it's really
so
interesting.
when I saw the systems around and sort of how your civilization, even for a deck building game, you would really see your civ age. Like, okay, if I can make time for this game, I think it will be a fun experience. Just to each civ is unique. Every civilization plays different. They have you're all working in the same system, but let's say civilizations will have history, but the Atlanteans they don't have history because they you know they yeah just sink. So
They
they
just
have
sink. That's what it is.
it's
They're from
they
Peru.
yeah. So
They're
they
from
have an
South
atlas
America apparently now.
uh, from the Netherlands in Rotterdam. Um, so that's what's impressive, I think, with big games, long games, is that even with simple systems, they're able to give you a reason to play that long. I think
Uh-huh.
that's what's impressive for me. And those are my pros for
Uh-huh.
long
Cool.
games.
Nice.
Cool.
Yeah.
Oh, my pro actually is very similar to Ron. I would like to call it the player aftermath narrative.
The stories. The
the stories,
stories.
the stories you actually build while playing. Okay,
The
given
immersion,
the
right?
yeah, imagine that. Okay, fine. Long games eventually do have stories. Okay, it's a storied experience too as well.
How
Now,
vague it is.
no matter how vague it is. But the thing is, you're as the player, as you understand how to play it as you go along sometimes, and usually when you play it again, and a new experience comes out, the stories you guys build, like, oh, how did I defeat you using this? It actually becomes the narrative of that particular game moment, and
Mm-hmm.
that's what we all call the memories that we all build up. These are
Mm-hmm.
the things that we remember. Like, oh, did you remember that you didn't you did you when you captured my land and I suddenly destroyed your headquarters? How'd you like
Mm-hmm.
that? Them apples,
Right.
diba? I mean, it's those personal stories that build up in a long game that actually make the game worthwhile.
Right. Yeah,
Diba? You incorporate your own experience into the game.
it's the same with what I'm saying earlier. I think last time I touched Civilization, I played Civilization, was with Desi. That was like 13 years ago. But that memory of 3 hours of just like almost winning because of Japan, one tech away from the tech tree, and then suddenly someone went and just Russia just crushed my home base. Like up to now, I'm like, yeah, I'm gonna win. No, curse it.
You,
Damn it.
you.
I thought we were
Me,
I
allies.
thought you were still too far.
me in Time Stories. I will not spoil anything in Time Stories, but there was a puzzle in the first story which me and my friends were standing up for about
Mhm.
15 minutes, and we're like, how? Wow, we know we got it, but for some reason we cannot read the letters and numbers straight. It's right there in front of us, and we kept on reading it wrong, and I'm like, what are we saying? And then after that, some guy just said something, and we're like, what did you just say? And then we added spaces in between the numbers and letters, and we're like, no. And then we from there forth, I'm like, okay, I am getting the next expansion and the next and the next.
Uh-huh.
If I can get this particular enthusiasm from myself and from my friends to think and stand up in a game and even drink water, like, what is that? What is the clue? What is happening?
Tea,
Ah,
coffee.
coffee. And then suddenly you're at a eureka moment. Those are the things that lasts.
Right.
That was the that was the
right?
first time I played that game. And up to now, I still remember that. And that's what
Yeah, yeah.
brought all the way till the day you sell it.
Mm. See,
I,
this is like an irony for a 3-4 hour game.
yes.
That's a rush. That's a rush. Okay.
They rushed us after 3 hours. You were saying wrong. Sorry, I just found it funny. Like it's a 4 hour game, 3-4 hour game, and they rushed us.
The rush in
Wow.
Civilization. I don't know that. I don't know there was an option.
There is no rush.
Yeah,
You just
and
open up
the
your back
other
door, so,
pros
okay.
will be like you fleshing out the story, the immersion. Yeah, those are really I like particularly where I have a feeling of accomplishment. Like I might lose, but I did it my way, and I almost
And
succeeded in doing it,
you
or
were
failed
able to
miserably
build.
trying. Just waiting for that one card that never showed
Do
up.
it now.
Yeah, but somehow you playing a long game with your brain burning, calculating everything else, even if you lose, at least if you get to pull off one of your objectives, like yeah, that was worth it, right? Even if you did something that was different from everyone else,
Yeah,
yeah,
a
that
sense
time
of
was worth it,
accomplishment.
right?
What's
Very
nice
good.
with long games is that you have that. So that stories after. So if it's a very strategic or thinky game, um, you are discussing with each other why you've lost. I think
Uh-huh.
you should have done this. Yeah, yeah. No, but I had this and this and this and that. Yes, but this one would have been your option, and so you now are sort of all,
It's your fault.
you know. Yeah, you're right. You're right. I
Your
should have
fault.
done this part. I should have taken this one. I think that's why I lost. And then you guys all recompute. Yes, it's 2 points. I lost to you by one. That was my mistake. And then okay, we play again.
And then
And
since now you know his goal, you can now counter strategize that particular moment.
the previous episode, Theo and I were talking about randomness of games. And sort of a short clip there was um, the games, ending a game and winning it is not the payout
Uh-huh. I have to agree
because
with that.
because at that moment you've won. It's so fast. It's like, oh, you've won. congratulations, and then that's it. The feeling is done.
There's your three.
It's
No one
it's
discusses the winner. Like, okay, you won. I want to talk about that. I want to talk about why you beat me.
yes,
I'll
yes, right. So
I'll
the
defend
payout
myself.
is discovering and seeing everything
Correct.
that
The
worked or
discovery.
did
Right.
not
Right.
work.
The discovery. Right. The one that makes you, that keeps you coming back for more, trying to uncover more of the game. That's one of the better things about long games. Like, what else have I not discovered? What else I could have done? What else can I do? Right? And it makes you come back to those games. And I think that's it's one of the pros. How about uh, cons, guys? At least one each.
Con.
Oh,
Here
oh,
we
wait,
Yeah.
go.
wait,
I
wait,
So
want.
wait,
I,
wait.
I have
Hold
one.
on,
I
hold
have
on,
one.
wait,
Leslie had a
wait.
really good con.
Yeah, we're gonna go there. The biggest problem is it's easy to the game in a long game is it's easy to miss or misinterpret rules. It's so true.
Is it the
No
game
matter
or
how
the
hard you
rule?
try.
Game or
No,
the
because
rule book?
look, we have at some point thought a very long game. No, your brain can only do so much. You're trying to keep every rule in your head afloat while trying to make your turn and watching everybody else do what they have to do. And then they're gonna ask you in between things. And somehow, somewhere, when someone asks you something, your brain will automatically say, yeah, that sounds logical. That must be the rule. So- and apparently it's not. So
Mhm.
you're like,
Fair enough.
yeah, everything else has been floating in my head. Don't talk to me. I cannot win.
Okay,
So,
that's a good point.
so
Yeah,
I
what
agree.
would be some of your cons
Yeah,
for long
I only
me,
games?
have one.
I remember one of the long games. So Battlestar Galactica is uh, a long game. It could play 3 hours with the expansions even more, and then spend those 3 hours in the brig is not fun. And you're looking at the other human player just going, bro, what are you doing?
Right.
You kept every human player inside the brick. You're so happy and proud of yourself. You're gonna look at them for 3 hours and you're like, nah. And so I think the when it's an odd experience, uh, it does really deter you from going back to that game. So I
Uh-huh.
had a really bad experience with Caverna, and it really is, preventing me from ever trying it again. And I
Uh-huh.
haven't really
Uh-huh.
heard people
Fair
say
point.
it's a good game. The only game that I like really forced myself, okay, I need to try it, even if I really hate my experience with it before. It was viticulture because like I
Hey,
really did not
how'd you
like.
find it now? How'd you find the game now?
Yeah, a
Eh,
lot better.
eh,
I understand
eh.
the rules now. It's not as tight loop impression as before. So, but definitely very random and swingy for those cards is still my impression of it.
Yeah, those will
Other
really
than that,
swing the game.
which was sort of a thematic disconnect for me because like, why does that work like that? Why do you get all of these random things?
Visitors,
Like
they visit your vineyard.
no, but that one is the most thematic part. That how do you make money selling wine or gardening or
Visitors.
selling meat? Tourists. We don't make money
Tourist.
from we don't
Makes
make money
sense.
from the actual produce. So
Cool. All right.
That's your con.
Kyo, con.
My cons is very similar to Ron's again as well. Although Ron's con was very literal to what I'm gonna say. Again, I'm basing this on an article I read, and it's very very on spot. One particular con for long games. The article says uses the term captive players. So for Ron's experience,
Yes.
he really was a captive. Now, in the way I see it, there are two scenarios. One, if a player does really bad in the beginning, and it chain
He has
reacts
to
throughout
sit
the
through
entire
it, right?
game, he has to sit
Mm.
through it. Second scenario, a runaway winner.
Uh-huh.
So
But
he's
that's just bad
way
design.
ahead. Yeah, well,
No,
depends. If
no.
you answer early,
I'm gonna get
yeah,
No,
well,
I mean,
I'm gonna get
it can
persecuted
eh.
here.
happen that players decided to gang up on a player unnecessarily, and
Yeah, but again, yun nga.
yeah,
Pe-
and then you have this
Players
other
who
guy
have to
like,
stay
oh,
in the
keep
game
taking
for,
points, guys. No, we don't care.
My
No
no
term
points.
for
chance
that
of
one,
winning.
is keeping everyone engaged. Somewhere there, it's the same, right? Where
Yeah,
for you, what you guys were saying.
not everybody will be engaged because again, sometimes a simple mistake will lead to a very excruciating uh, game for you, and what time to run, very bad experience.
Mhm.
So again, and
Mhm.
also for someone who's been playing so well, so good, and he knows everything, and he didn't even say a thing about how he played or what even bothered to teach. Like I win at on like on the seventh turn of the game, and he's like way over there. His points is already past the 100 mark, and you're like, I'm just 65. What the heck's going on, man?
You're 100.
I thought this is.
That's tapestry all over.
Hey man,
That's
you're teaching the
tapestry.
game. What's wrong with you?
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's a fair point.
my God.
If
The
something goes
only
wrong,
con.
it's gonna be a long game if
Wait,
A
something
lot,
goes
right?
wrong with you guys.
But
Right.
to the advocate, and I always teach this: if you're the only one sort of suffering, then
That's okay.
maybe you can sort of power through. But if you can sense that the table is not working,
Reset.
raise the hand and ask, is everyone having fun still? I don't want to offend anyone. I'm a little bit lost, or I've a little bit disengaged already from this game. Uh, is it same thing with everyone? If you guys, yeah, actually, you know,
Someone just has to say it first, right?
yes,
And then
and people
everybody else
would
will like, oh yeah.
Someone has to break the ice, and then someone will stand up and like, yes, yes, let me
So,
eat, let
Tara,
me eat.
guys, this game sucks, no?
This game sucks, no?
so,
You guys really
so I,
like this?
so I remember Sir Freddy saying, Agricola, nice no? Ang nice nung game, di ba? No? I'm like, that was so sarcastic of him.
Ang ganda, no?
Anyway,
That for me.
Agree ko
the
na, up na nga, hindi ko pa matapos eh.
the the cons I have are the same. You mentioned it, like, yeah, right, keeping everyone engaged, entertained, teaching. That's a long teach if it's a long game, and there's a lot of things that you have to clear, and you have to explain it to people. I won't mind if we're all gamers, core gamers. That will be easy. But if you have someone who's not yet a core gamer, who just crossed into who just finished the family type game, the gateway game, and is starting to discover, that's gonna be a long teach.
Yeah.
And the rules, like what Deski was saying. But my real reason, and I guess this is why we had this topic, was because I think I'm getting old, and I have
All in the head,
on.
boy.
I know, but hear me out. I could spend those 2 to 3 hours playing one game as opposed to playing 2 to 3 games, right? Or more. And to me, I think I'm missing out on other fun that I could have with other players, because we're playing different games and I'm playing games with different players, as opposed to me being stuck for 3 to 4 hours. It might be a good game, yes, and I'm so engaged, but somehow I think that's just me again. I feel like, hey, I'm missing out on other tables. Come on, guys, you've done this before. You're playing a 3-hour game and you're looking over
No,
over to the next
so
table.
Like, oh,
here's what
they're
I
on their
learned.
fifth game na.
Right?
Here's
See? And
here's what I
I think for
learned.
me, okay,
Yeah, here's what I learned. Why we get that feeling, and why I also choose when I will play the long game. Because
correct.
it's a
Yeah,
typical
yeah.
game night, and because of our role as advocate, and we're sort of always constantly monitoring, I will never engage into a long game because it will tie me down, and I'm not going to be able to help other players and engage with other players. So because of that, yeah, game nights are sort of open game nights. It's not going to be a
Unless
venue
everybody's
unless
doing
there's
their thing.
nobody, unless there's someone there. I mean, it's just
Right.
you and your fellow advocates, and maybe you can do it. So what we do is that we call for a special game night to play that
That's
game.
not publicized.
Yes. Yes, that's not
Yeah,
secret game night. We have a secret society. We have a secret
we,
handshake.
it's
Oh,
actually
oh,
not
oh,
a
so
game night.
oh,
Ron,
then.
it's not a
what time
game
are you
night
coming in?
because you're
Coming in at 12 or around what? All right. What time do we leave? Same time. Just different letters in the end.
You know what's gonna bring the secret society together faster? Sabi mo, okay, there's food here in 30 minutes. Get here within 20.
Yeah,
People were like, okay, free food, let's go.
but even in conventions, yeah, I think it's because you're an advocate and somehow it's always at the back of your head that if I'm gonna be
Oh,
playing a
yeah.
long game, I'm gonna be robbing myself of teaching others, experiencing game with others, experiencing the joy of others. And even if we have our own game days, I think we haven't played a game that's like 3 hours long. It's always two max, and we try to beat that 2 hour max thing because we rarely get to game on our own. So we also try to consume as much games as we can on
yeah.
our
From
official
our
game
own
day.
very own collection. That's something to consider. If you're a collector, the value of how much you play with your collection versus how much time you spend on a single game comes
Right.
as a factor. Like, I'd
Correct.
love to play all of these things, but I know that maybe only one or two will fit in a single game day. So
Mhm.
yeah.
I'm
Fair
not
enough.
dissing on long people who like long meaty games. That's your thing. And for me, it is somewhat of a con for me because I have that thing. I call it the FOMO, the fear of missing out on the other fun that I might be having, the experience that I might be having on another table because I'm stuck playing a long game. And sometimes even if I'm playing Scythe, which is my favorite game, and it's reaching around 2 hours, I'm like, it's too long already. Where's Dwayne when we need him?
Dwayne,
Okay.
end this now.
Someone get me out of this game now, please.
so so for me, that's one for me. Like, yeah, I could be playing different games. I think I'm getting old, and that investment in time on a long game, I'd rather play more games than play one long game.
Fair enough.
And to me, that would be something that's difficult to swallow as a con for a long game,
That's the
even
value
if
of
it's
your
really
time.
good.
That's the
Yeah,
value of
and
your time.
that's actually what I was how I'm gonna end this with that question. Right, how does it matter to you? And right off the bat, Desky answered everything else from the whole structure I ask this question. It's because we have finite amount of available time for gaming. No matter if you're an advocate, no matter if you're a gamer and you ask permission, you're just gonna have a game day. It's still a finite time. And
Mhm.
unless you all agree that hey, we're gonna play a Lacerda game, we're gonna play 2 rounds of Kemet, we're gonna play 3 rounds of 2 rounds of Tapestry or whatnot have you, right? You have finite amount of time for gaming, and at the end of the day, it doesn't matter if you're long gamer, short gamer. It's your experience. we're not bashing long games. We're not bashing short games here.
Long
We're
game,
just
short
saying
game.
if you're okay with it, that's your thing. Go on, like enjoy, right? And if you're like me who just likes to rifle through different games and experience different games with different people, sure, come join our table, right? But there's always gonna be a pro. There's always gonna be a con. As long as you're having fun, no matter if it's a 5 hour power grid, 10 hour viticulture. And I don't know how long
I
your
don't,
grapes
yeah.
will be.
Some,
No
something,
way, man.
suka na
See,
yun, suka.
look, played Viti with 6 max, 3 hours. Napagyosi na isang player, pagbalik niya, di niya pa rin turn. Hey, this usually happens in Tapestry. Especially if someone hits that combo, when someone actually figured out the math of doing things, it's gonna be a long time. Or someone gets
Yeah.
be a long time. But hey, that's where I'm at when it comes to the long and short of it, right? Of our
We
time
played
with
the
board
power
games.
grid, 6-player power grid, pero we were able to magically pull it off for an hour. And the only reason
Wow.
why we were able to do that is because three of us were running the table. Three of us were experts already in power grid. So literally, one was doing the auctions, one was managing the resources, one was helping everyone for the rest of the computation. Like, what do you wanna do? Oh, you wanna do this? Oh, that's 10 plus this plus this. So whoever is like super fast in math, they're the one assigned to that.
Galing.
And then, so yeah, because we wanted to squeeze in a power grid play. But honestly speaking, I prefer to play it, you know, very casual. Like, oh, we're having some snacks, we're playing power grid, we're talking about other things. Oh, it's my turn. Okay, here's what I do, and then you do your thing again. You eat. That's kind of sometimes how I would like to play. It's not the ooh, let's play this and what's next and play this again. What's next? Because I also don't get to experience the people as much
Mm-hmm.
as compared to something a little bit more like we're just playing this tonight and then okay, that's good, and we don't have to be super aggressive trying to map out everything. Anyway, we could go on and have a really long episode.
Long. Long episode or short episode, whichever you guys like. We can do both.
So, but yeah, like what Denmark said, it is um, fairly to each their own. Uh, Long game, short game. I think it's more of being able to figure out the correct players that will
Uh-huh.
enjoy the game with you. So if you can find a group that likes short games, then you guys will be piling in a lot of games. If you prefer longer games, then find the correct group as well. If you try to mix these players, it might not always work because they are more attuned or more motivated for time on one component or another. So there you have it. Thank you everyone for joining us this evening. I hope you guys get to play as much games as you prefer.
We hope.
uh, and
Sana kami
yeah,
din.
and
As
make time for
much as we
games.
can.
Make time. Set an appointment. Make time for games. It's good for our well-being, and yeah, it's really just fun to be able to see people across the table again. And but always remember to be safe. Pandemic is not really over, so still practice safe uh, social distancing and mask and so forth, alcohol, and of course get vaccinated. All right. Until next time, everyone. Thank you for joining us. Ron, good evening. Bye.
Bye. Bye,
Bye.
everybody.
We'll be back.
Good sweet.
That's how I say bye. Bye.